What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen.
Aaron Bergen.
Bodie De Silva.
Look at that.
If you watch other versions of this, we did it in a different direction.
Very nice.
Man, it's almost like we're professionals at this. Hey, welcome to the Open Division Boys Basketball Championship preview at the Battle of Delmar Heights Road, as Aaron was predicting and Bodie was predicting would happen. Cathedral Catholic, the #1 seed, taking on the #3 seeded Torrey Pines Falcons. Cathedral Catholic was the Division I champs last year. Torrey Pines was the Open Division champs. I mean, it's at some point, stop me if you heard these sentences said a couple times. Like it's not necessarily a new matchup, but it's a refreshing matchup. We got big physical interior. We got two teams that have these sterling reputations, great records. This should, by all accounts, be a very entertaining matchup for our championship game in San Diego County. Do we have to do a coin toss as to who goes for? How are we going to decide this one?
No, Bodie can take it.
Okay. Age before beauty.
Yeah, I'm really curious on how the two defenses match up here and who can kind of, over this next day and a half, create something offensively that'll work against each other, because Cathedral loves playing that 2-3 and kind of trap you there, and Torrey's mixed it up this year but played a lot of really good man-to-man defense. My pre-playoff preview, I picked the Dons rather than go against myself. I'll stick with that, and I think a really good game. They played late December, and expect another good one.
Bodie, let me teach you something about media. If you have multiple platforms, make multiple takes, so that way you've got yourself covered. You can tweet it out of, here's the receipts. Aaron, I see you shaking your head. Is that disagreement at me or at Bodie's prediction?
Disagreement at you. I mean, I went on television and said that Cathedral Catholic was going to win. I mean, I literally circled the Dons, signed my name by my predictions. I can't get out of that one, and nor do I want to. I really think Cathedral at this point is firing on all cylinders. I mean, look at what they did to Francis Parker. First matchup of the season when they played Parker, 4-point game, much actually closer than 4 points. I mean, it was almost, it was tied with 30 seconds left. They run them out the gym. They figured out the small ball, and I talked to a couple of their coaches before, and what we see as basketball guys, Bodie and I, what looks and very much appears much like a zone defense. They swear up and down. It's not a zone defense. It's a man defense with zone principles. I'm like, so it's a zone. No, it's a man defense. We always want certain guys guarding certain positions on the floor. I'm like, okay, so it's a zone. Got it. Thank you. But given that, it's really stymied a lot of teams. But Torrey Pines, on the other hand, when they played against them, they were able to do something that other teams haven't been able to do. Chris Howell held his own for most of the game against Obina Anyanwu. I mean, it was very impressive. For 3 quarters, Obina couldn't figure it out. And then finally, I think the physicality of that matchup wore down on Chris Howell, who was sick during that matchup too. But I think that what we see from Cathedral, especially down the stretch, is a team that has been able to leverage its massive front line, 6'9", 6'8", and, played high-low and have really just beaten teams, via attrition. I think this is going to be a very competitive matchup. I think this is going to be the most physical of all of the games that we see. But I think that the Dons do pull it out probably around the same margin that, that we saw in December. Again, 8-point, 9-point margin in December, one of the most exciting games I've seen all year.
I've been going back and forth in my head a lot today about this matchup because, I want to say thank you to the Los Locos for letting me be in your profile pick all year, and I have no reason to want to try and sacrifice that. So part of me just wants to pick Cathedral just off of that and just leave it be and not ruffle feathers. But I will say that, man, it's just impossible at any layer to really find a differentiating factor between these two teams. The December game, I don't even pay attention to games pre-January in terms of what they mean for a later context of a team, just because of anything, health, tendencies, where the mindset was at for a player.
Improvement improvement of JV players who were just thrown into that. I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the big thing,
So I don't take any. That could have been a 30-point win, a 1-point win. I would take no takeaway from that. And I guess I'll just, because both of you guys are picking Cathedral Catholic, I'll play the Torrey Pines card, and I'll take their hand. If they are the defending champs, so don't go against the defending champs until you see them, not be the defending champs. I think that what I saw in their matchup against Saints, to your point about the physicality of Chris Howell and the ability to control things, there was a couple of possessions, Bodie, you were there also watching it, where he could have given up turnovers. He was controlling the ball, trying to drive into the lane, or on the flip side, play some defense against Chibuzo or someone like that, and it was bend, but he never broke. And so I think that to your point, that evens out that matchup if we see that happen again. So it becomes a wash, and that's where I go, default to the champs. But I mean, I don't see that. I see this being a 2-point game. Like, this is going to be an amazing finish, second best one on the slate behind the Division III game. But as we talked about, there's Kalen Rains, man, huge superstar there. Like that's gonna be fun. Kalen Rains versus
Wayne's World.
No, who's the third best now? Coronado?
Oh, I know the second best guy is Mike Cunningham.
All right, it's Kalen Rains versus Mike Cunningham, and that was totally going to get edited out. Guys, look, we appreciate you supporting all of our shenanigans and nonsense. Any closing notes on the Open Division game?
Actually, we talked briefly. I kind of alluded to it. Kudos to the Torrey Pines role players who really grown this year. Cameron Klein, Diego Camposano, Nate Whitty, Matthias Klotfelter. I mean, those guys have all just shown improved leaps and bounds over the year, and that's why they're here. It's Brandon Angel, has put together a impressive resume that can't be ignored in the Player of the Year conversation. But if those role players don't grow up during the season, they're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the JVs went 28-0 last year. They're used to winning. Some guys stepped up big shots last night. I'm just citing a stat.
Our closing note on Open Division basketball coverage is how last year's JV team went.
Hey, all they've done is win.
We offer such a niche coverage
no
that nobody else.
They can never give it up. And every time I step up in the building, everybody's hands go.
This is all copyrighted. That's what everyone's hands go. Everyone, we appreciate you. Go follow Full-Time Hoops 1. Go follow SD Preps. Do not follow Mr. CPED because I very rarely check that account. Just follow the main SD Prep Insider for all your high school sports needs. Go check out all of our other divisions. Thank you very much for watching. Guys, thank you very much for being here.
Peace.
Go check out a game. What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen.
Aaron Bergen.
You doing okay there? You're just a little more excited than normal. I like it. So what we got here is the Division I boys basketball finals preview and the one bracket that played out academically. Yeah. The 1 and the 2. Santa Fe Christian, Carlsbad, North County. Pair of teams that have both won CIF championships recently. Pretty good game.
Should be.
Yeah, we're all in agreement there. All right, so you've both gone first on a couple of these.
You want to go first, sir?
That's a novel idea.
Look at that.
Content producer Bodie De Silva. He's with Scorebook Live, their official digital partners of the San Diego CIF section. He's with Prep Hoops and with a parent support group for parents of athletes that will also meet every Saturday. Santa Fe Christian Carlsbad, like, you could literally dice this a bunch of different ways of, is it the coaching? Is it the scheme? I'll just say that it's going to be a big shot game. Like can Jalen Nelson make the bigger shots, or can someone on Santa Fe Christian make, there's just going to, this game will be decided in the last 6 minutes or so by one person making a corner three or a driving slash at the bucket. And that's what I'm looking, this is such a great juicy matchup that there's no weak spots where these teams, you look at it and you go, oh, they're going to overpower them in that one setting. And this is just a bad matchup for a final. This is great. I across the board think that that's how this happens. I say just maybe de facto SFC gets the nod because they're the one. And so I'll stick with that being my only reason that I can differentiate the two.
Okay. These teams played earlier in the year, and Santa Fe Christian got a really good win. And they were missing one of their key guys, I think, that game. Was it Hayden or Keaton was missing?
Yeah, I think Keaton was out that one.
Yeah, Keaton Smith, he had some knee trouble in the middle of the year. He's back. Carlsbad, though, kudos to Jalen Nelson. What a performance. I stand by what I said on Twitter. Given the, I know, a certain freshman scored 77 points earlier this year. I know there have been a couple of 40 balls thrown around during the year, but to have 42 points in the CIF semifinal game against a very good El Camino team in a blowout win, I mean, that's arguably the performance of the year. I mean, that's huge. Impressive. But I'm going with Santa Fe Christian just because I think they've had the experience at the Division I level, winning those games at the Division I, being an open team a year ago. And I think their schemes, their ability to shoot it, and their depth is going to play a big role with a Carlsbad team that has one huge right hook and a lot of injury is down the stretch.
That game, just for everyone's exact recall, January 8th at Carlsbad High School, a 65-56 win for Santa Fe Christian. Bodie.
Yeah, Carlsbad, as Aaron said, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. Santa Fe did earlier. They've gotten healthy as they can be at this point. Jalen Nelson, last round, his 42 points were 2 less than El Camino scored as a team, which that was an El Camino team that came in playing really well, won their league, went undefeated in league. I'm going to go with Carlsbad here. I think Jalen Nelson has one last big performance here. Obviously, they'll be into state after that, but I could see him a 40-plus game here.
There's layers to that. I agree with you on
that.
I
could totally see that.
And pull one off here for Carlsbad.
Well, there you go. We'll have all the details for how, when, where, why you can watch the game. Get the tickets online through all the CIF websites. Guys, thank you very much. We will go on to the Open Division game now.
Yes, sir.
What's happening, sports fans? And welcome to the nuances of parenting and how to deal with that. Brought to you by Aaron Bergen and the rapidly developing ulcer in his stomach.
AKA the full-time dad. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, so Christian Pedersen here. I am a reasonable adult basketball fan, high school sports contributor. Bodie De Silva, very knowledgeable in everything, is a fan of all things, but basketball is one of your deeper passions in life, so he knows even more about it than I do. Aaron even takes that a further step in being the most knowledgeable person in San Diego high school sports, other than in literally the exact situation we find ourselves in, and that is when his child is in his 3rd straight CIF basketball championship. So, Aaron, do you want to talk during this, or are you just going to sit here silently? Are you going to give us a little bit of preview?
I'll just give some context.
Okay. So
no prediction.
Deal. So the Division II boys basketball final is going to be give us at least this, Aaron. You gave us war in the first one, all out melee in the second one. What is this one going to be?
It's going to be a very physical affair.
I feel like that's a de-escalation. Like you turn you now it's just a peaceful. This is the UN going in for a security action.
No, it's going to be a very physical affair.
This is going to be nuclear war, all out destruction of the universe. As number 5 University City takes on number 2 San Diego, the Cavers.
Yeah, and this is how I learned to love the bomb today. We're going to. Let's talk about UC, first of all. When I got first chance I got to see them this year was against Westview. It was, I think, one of their first games. And, first thing that jumps out at you is, who is this kid? This 6'7" kid that's dunking, put back dunks, running the floor like a deer, blocking shots off the backboard. And we quickly learned that this kid was an exchange student who moved in, Frankie Nagudebe. All-league first team in the City League, just completely changed the complexion of their season. So, they have done an excellent job in the playoffs, holding home.
Can you imagine? I'm just 30-second aside. Can you imagine if you transferred 1 year earlier and him and Casey Granfors had been in a gym together?
I thought about that. It's so funny. I thought about all the different things that have, the breaks that have occurred during this 2-year run for San Diego. And in D3, that was the first thing I thought about. If you had Frankie, who was in school at UC last year and checked out, so they went to another school and then returned. If you have him, Casey, and Benito Hurtado, there's no way any team in Division III can handle that front court. Not
all right, well, let's talk about the real game, though.
Okay. So the thing that UC has been able to do is they've been able to leverage the fact that teams will double and triple team Frankie as he drives to the basket. And then he does a really good job of locating their shooters. Luke Minnick, Kaysen Dickerson, Jalen LaFear, they've all been, big time, opportunist scorers off of, the attention that Frankie draws. The thing that I think about San Diego is that this year they've been able to defend their yard, fairly well without having to double down so much. Last night was a really good example. Canyon Crest has done a good job attracting double teams and finding open shooters. There was no such, there wasn't much room for their shooters to operate last night. Excellent defensive affair. Where I think San Diego gets in trouble, though, is the foul trouble. It's been a recurring theme all this year. The games where they've been very close have been because either Tyler Castillo or AJ Bergen has been in foul trouble. And I think one of those things is going to give either San Diego's defense is going to, struggle to contain Frankie, or San Diego's going to, do an excellent job defensively, and they're going to win it. I think this is going to be a very, very close and very competitive game.
Bodie?
Yeah, looking at the brackets, both teams won their first 2-round games by single digits, pretty close games, and then really opened it up there in the semis. 17-point win for the Cavers and a 28-point win there for the Centurions. I'll go with San Diego. They've been really impressive since that end of the league portion, winning 4 straight to get the co-league title. So I think they do the three-peat.
I'll just close out with a note on Coach Baz and wanted to say congratulations on getting back to this game. And at some point, you have to stop saying that the wins validate it, just getting back to it consistently like this is something to speak to the basketball culture that man has brought in. And this is more of a preview show, and that's more of just a general sentiment. But I think that it's just taking a second to acknowledge going into this game. Congratulations to a man who has built a school that was almost closed and sent off for parts to different places into something that is at least at the very least not losing kids to premier basketball schools. So that is just my note. Just wanted to say congratulations to Baz and give a little love where it is due. On to the D1 game.
Let's do it.
Sports fans, Christian Pedersen, Bodie De Silva, Aaron Bergen. Sorry, Bodie, we crossed. Dang it. If only we could restart this. But no, these shows are completely live, 100% streaming live all the time. We're talking about high school basketball. The boys San Diego section finals are here, and we got previews for all the games. If you stumbled across this one, this is Division 3, aka the actual Open Division game. This is what? Did I sound crazy there? Did I sound cuckoo? Are you telling me that Coronado and San Ysidro can't be the singular marquee matchup of brand names in the San Diego CIF section in a given year?
For 2 individual players, definitely.
Yes.
Come on.
Agree there.
Name on the front of the jersey, not the back. But yeah, we got Jurian Dixon and Wayne McKinney. And Jurian Dixon and Wayne McKinney is the battle that we've all been wanting all season long. And, so does the freshman phenom get the last win to finally cement the first step in his legacy, or is Wayne McKinney going to be too much for him?
First off, I just want to point out that CIF has announced that they sold 1,000 tickets to this game on their website, and they have ceased selling pre-sale tickets on the website. That's very impressive for a Division III matchup. I'll let Bodie go with the prediction first. I'll hop in after.
Yeah, my biggest thing I'm interested here is Coronado's 3 playoff games have all been pretty low scoring in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't see any way that this game is that way, just the way that San Ysidro wants to play. So I'll go out there. I'll pick Coronado, but I think they're going to have to score a ton, and it's probably 40, 45 points from Wayne McKinney if they can get it done.
I'm going to go with San Ysidro, just playing devil's advocate here for exactly what he said. Coronado, they hold teams – really low point scores. They've played excellent defense all playoffs. I saw them against Eastlake, and it was a clinic. Outside of Alex Crawford's 23 points, 23 of how much did they score in that? 46. Half of their points. So I just don't see that happening with the San Ysidro team. There are way too many weapons offensively, especially given their big I think we're talking their big two, Jurian Dixon and Kalen Rains, keeping with this joke. Yeah, awesome. There's a third guy out there that will score a few points himself.
Well, you're getting to my secrets to the game that I was gonna get at a little bit, and I think that I'm also taking San Ysidro. I think though in a surprise, all the focus, like you said, had been on Kalen and during the season. Yeah. I think they're gonna switch it up, and it wouldn't surprise me if you see Terry Tucker finally bring Mikey Williams out of the shadows. I mean, we really
I know.
For those of you guys you probably didn't know that Mikey Williams, he's an under the radar freshman at San Ysidro. Really, there hasn't been much media content about him this year from anybody. So he's really, he's been massively overlooked. You would think that you'd hypothetically have 2 or 3 camera people just following his every move this season, but that hasn't seemed to happen. Yeah. I was thinking at one point we might see maybe a picture of him, because he sort of, I thought, was going to become the king of San Diego. I thought we might even see him on a literal throne. Obviously, none of that has happened on social media. So that's where I'm trying to bring to you guys. Maybe this will be the twist in the game, is that we finally get to see whether or not Mikey Williams, it knows how to dribble, tied the shoes,
the basics.
Yeah, well, that's what we're going to see. And I think credit to Terry Tucker for being able to really have such a hidden weapon that nobody really even knows about until the finals. That's a Belichickian move to hold someone back like that. So awesome. I'll say San Ysidro. Maybe he'll score even. I'll even say that Mikey will score double digits.
Could be.
All right, fair enough. Any closing notes?
No, just
another good one, but
get there
early.
Yeah. Oh, we got to end this so we can get out of here.
Peace.
What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen.
Aaron Bergen.
Oh, guys, look at that. We get it right in the finals. Welcome to the Division 4 finals preview. Boys basketball is why you are here. Boys basketball is why we are here. It's why we're all here. So let's talk about this. The number 1 seeded Calexico Bulldogs make their way all the way through. Decent challenge from Central. Only a 3-point win. They are going to be taking on the Vaqueros of El Cap, the Castilian.
I saw that. The Castilian. Yes, I hear the list.
Little extra something. Who gets an upset win at O'Farrell. Both of these games in this round, in the semifinal round, 3-point wins. Seems like we're headed for a pretty interesting final here. You got first dibs at D5, so you want to get first dibs at this one?
Yeah, take it. I'm taking Calexico on this one. One of the reasons why is that the El Cap win over O'Farrell didn't have their best player, DeAndre Allison. Sprained his ankle in the Hilltop quarterfinal matchup, didn't suit up. That's a huge loss for a team that, he was their leading scorer, rebounder, league MVP, and they still, played it pretty competitively. I think Calexico played a very familiar opponent out in Imperial County, and that familiarity will breed some of those close matchups. But I think the unfamiliarity between these two programs is, the advantage goes to the 1 seed, and to the Tavares brothers and Julian Beltran have been playing some really good basketball this year. So I'm going to go with Calexico.
Yeah, I'll go Calexico as well. First off, that crowd last night, I retweeted the picture. That was awesome for Calexico Central, just for a packed house and so much support out there.
Awesome.
At SD Preps on Twitter.
But yeah, I'll go Calexico here. They played earlier in the year. Calexico won by a few. El Cap finished 4th in league. They've been playing better since then, but I'll go Calexico. I think they have too much firepower.
Guys, I will go El Cap
Nice.
Because I like consistency. And you know what's been consistent? El Cap scoring 58 points in the playoffs. Do either of you have the bracket open right now? First round, 58-43 over San Pasqual. Second round, 58-48 over High Tech San Diego. Third round, 58-55 over O'Farrell. So El Cap is going to score 58 points, and they're going to win because that seems to be the game plan that they have drawn up to a literal T. I have no better analysis than that. Oh. They'll still win. El Cap still wins. Yeah.
Calexico 70, El Cap 58.
Yes, but because of their consistency, they win. Isn't that how basketball? Yes, exactly.
We'll have to check with CIF on that.
Okay.
Deal.
So
what I'm saying is that I will cleverly edit this, so no matter what, you just have me saying, so I win.
Okay.
Deal.
Got it.
On to the Division 3 game, unless you guys have anything else.
No, just excellent season for all of the Division 4 teams. Truly was, again, just like Division 2, a bracket that was full of upsets and, intrigue along the way. So it's been very fun. But
it's good trail mix. It's a nice mixed bag.
1 seed wins this one.
All right. There we go. Talk to you soon. Yeah, so guys, the Division 5 championship. Number 5, Classical Academy upsets the 1 seed Fallbrook to move on. Number 3, Calvin Christian upsets the 2 seed Mar Vista to move on. Do we want to split it and one person can take one? Did you guys coordinate your picks before we did? No, of course not. We'll just go around. Bo, do you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, a really interesting one to me. A league matchup. They split during league. And the road team won both the games. So I'm expecting another really close one. I expect low scoring because I think they really know each other. I'll go with Calvin Christian here. I think Martin Gumwell, the big freshman, will provide a little bit more for them to just be over the top. But I think this can be a really good game.
Agreed. Both these teams are familiar with one another from years of playing in the same league. I was a little concerned about Calvin Christian's health. Losing Luke Bonds, I thought that was going to be a big factor. They've been able to weather it, and they were dominant in their win against Mar Vista. And Classical proved that their win over Fallbrook earlier in the year wasn't a fluke. They went back to Fallbrook and did it again. I'm going to go with Classical on this one, just because, beating the 1 seed at their place, that really speaks to –
that trumps everything in the playoffs, more or less, in terms of reading the tea leaves type things.
I mean, I just feel like if you come in and come in beating a 1 seed, there's just some level of play that you have to do in order to pull that off. And then also, I had a chance to look at their all-league team. I published it on Full Time Hoops 1, and they had 3 guys on the all-league team. So this, between Gumwell, Brandon Nelson versus their 3 all-leaguers. It's going to be a fun one. I'm just going to play counterpoint and pick Classical.
I will slightly give Classical the edge. I like the intangibles that you speak of winning that one. Although, if I said to you this sentence, but they beat the 2 seed on, like if I put enough emphasis on it, I can make anything sound important. And, Calvin did beat the 2 seed, so it was only 1 notch down. Sure. But I understand the sentiment of where you're coming. I've also just learned that Classical sometimes gets victimized with the league schedules and everything. They just don't have a ton of strength of schedule. So that 5 seed might not be entirely accurate about, they could have been a 3 seed.
They're a 20-win team.
Yeah, so exactly. They're a good team. So I give them the slight edge there. Guys, any closing notes on D5?
Just
follow Full Time Hoops 1 and follow SD Preps.
Kudos to proving us wrong. I mean, geez, that just blew up the brackets completely.
Yeah, I definitely expected 1 versus 2 here.
Yep.
That's what you get. Us retroactively wishing that it had been 1 versus 2 and a decent attempt at a future prediction. Thanks for watching our Division 5 boys basketball finals special. Guys, let's go on to the next one.